Hi Year 11, here's your GCSE drama Strive for Success Revision Methods presentation. So the exam is 1 hour and 45 minutes. In section A, you'll be asked about theatre roles and terminology, staging positions and stage configurations. This section is worth 4 marks. In section B, the questions will be on Blood Brothers. There are 4 questions and it is worth 44 marks. In section C, that is a question on the live theatre review. It is 1 question and it's worth 32 marks. The timings are really important. You should spend less than 5 minutes on section A, 1 hour on Blood Brothers and 40 minutes on the live theatre review. In section A, there are 4 questions which are multiple choice. You might be asked about the responsibilities of job roles, such as a stage director, a stage manager, a theatre manager, a set designer, a costume designer, etc. You might be given a diagram of a staging type and asked to identify it. You might be asked about the advantages and disadvantages of different staging types. So for example, an advantage of theatre in the round is that the audience is sat very close to the actors. You need to read carefully these questions as they may look easy, but the wording may catch you out. When you write the answers, you need to write the letter and the worded answer on your sheet. To be able to revise for this section, you could make some flashcards of all the terminology which we learned about last year. Section B will be on Blood Brothers. There are 4 questions which will increase in difficulty. You'll be given a clean copy of the text in the exam to refer to. In the question paper, it will refer to a specific extract of the play. You need to make sure that you read this very carefully first. There are 4 questions worth 4 marks, 8 marks, 12 marks and 20 marks. You should spend 1 hour on Blood Brothers. It is important that you leave enough time to answer question 4, as this is the most marks. You should leave about 25 minutes to answer this question. You need to read carefully that you do not answer question 5, which will ask you about being a designer. You only need to answer question 4. Section B, question 1. So this question is worth 4 marks and should take 5 minutes to answer. You should write only 1 paragraph. You'll be asked to describe your design ideas for either a costume, set, lighting, props or sound. You only need to describe, but you need to be specific. You should mention things like the colour, materials, fabric, hair and makeup, and levels or positions, for example for the set. We did a lot of practice on costume, but you need to be aware of how the set, lighting and sound could also come up on the paper. You will need to relate it to the context which we worded in the question. For example, a working class community in the 1960s or 70s. Read the question carefully and describe your design ideas. Section B, question 2. This section is worth 8 marks and should take 10 minutes to answer. You'll be given a specific character and a specific line to focus on from the extract. You must describe how you would use your vocal and physical skills to perform this line. You should aim for at least 8 examples of the key words that we have looked at. Do you remember talking about piped, BAP and PEP flags, which were the acronyms for our vocal and physical skills? You should look at the line that has been given to you and split it up into small sections to be able to describe it closely. You must also explain the effects that you want to create. You must explain why you would perform this line in this way and explain what it shows about the character. If you can't remember vocal skills, here is the acronym for you. Your vocal skills are your pitch, intonation, pace, emphasis, your dynamics, so your volume, breath control, accent and pause. All of these are in your Year 10 exercise book. Your vocal skills are your posture, your eye contact, tension, facial expression, levels, action, gesture and space. Try and remember these acronyms as they will really help you in the exam. Section B, question 3 is a little bit harder now. It will carry 12 marks and should take about 15 minutes to answer. You should be aiming to write about 3 paragraphs. This question will ask you to refer to a shaded part of the extract. You must make sure you read that shaded part carefully. Like question 2, it will ask you about vocal and physical skills, but it will also ask you to include about the space and interaction between the 2 characters. So you must refer to both characters in your answer. You should talk about proxemics, levels, whether they touch each other, their stage positions, whether they move upstage or downstage, their pace and their style of movement, and how they react to each other. The question will also ask you to focus on how a specific effect is created, such as tension, comedy, sympathy, romance, surprise. You must refer back to this in your answer. Section B, question 4. This is worth 20 marks and should take 25 minutes to answer. You need to read it carefully because it will ask you about a different character in the extract. You should aim to write about 4 paragraphs. In your opening paragraph, you should explain what has happened in the extract and why the character is important in the scene and the play as a whole. This question will ask you to refer to a moment in the extract, but also make reference to the rest of the play. You should choose one key moment in the extract and then 2 other key moments from the rest of the play. So for example, if the question was based on Mickey and the extract you were given was when he was 7 years old, you will pick a key moment from that extract, but then you would also refer to it to explain how Mickey is different when he's 14 and when he's an adult. For your revision for Blood Brothers, there was a really good Blood Brothers play guide, which is a revision guide. Make sure you get the same one that I've shown on the presentation, because this is the only one for the AQA GCSE drama, and that is the one that you need. Your best revision to do is to read Blood Brothers again. If you are reading it, you could also try and have a look for a decent version on YouTube to watch at the same time. You could have a go at acting out some of the scenes or the scene key lines to apply voice and movement. And you could have a go at some of the practice questions that I've put on Google Classroom. Section C is on a live theatre review, and for PPE 1 you are going to focus on One Man and Two Governors. There is only one question for this section. It is worth 32 marks and should take about 40 minutes to answer. You must answer this question as a performer, not a designer, so read the question carefully. You do not need to answer the question below it. The exact wording of the question may differ from year to year, but the question will always be quite generic. It may resemble something like, describe how one or more of the actors in a particular section of the play use their acting skills to create an interesting character. Analyse and evaluate how successful they were in communicating their character to the audience. That might not be the exact question, but only a couple of the words will change. So instead of interesting characters, it might say effective characters, or convincing characters, or successful characters. The question will always be very similar. So for the live theatre review, You need to make sure you show that you understand what the play is about, the plot, the characters, the background and the context in the first paragraph. Then afterwards, you need to choose 3 key moments which you are going to focus on in your answer. You should watch and re-watch these moments very carefully. You need to explain how the actor used their vocal and physical skills in these key moments and describe them carefully. You should pick out very tiny little details to be precise and be specific, to create the picture and make the examiner imagine what happened in that performance. You should try and word the question into your answer. So the question said about interesting characters. An example could be, this created an interesting character because. Then you are referring back clearly to the question. You should evaluate what was successful about the performance and give lots of statements to say how you enjoyed it was funny, or you were rolling in tears of laughter. You need to say what you enjoyed about it. Your revision for section C is that you must watch One Man, Two Governors again. I've put all the login details on Google Classroom. As you are watching, make notes on the production and the key moments you enjoy. The majority of you did the preparation work over lockdown. You should look over these notes and the essay you wrote back then. Also read the feedback I gave you on those essays, as this will help you. All the revision resources for this will be uploaded to Google Classroom, so please make sure you go back and check it. Finally, good luck. I know we've not spent a lot of time this term preparing for PPE 1, but we did do a lot of practice in Year 10. Once we have completed the devising unit and the scripted unit after Christmas, you will have completed all your practical units for GCSE drama, and then by March you will have lots and lots of time to go back over things for the written exam, so please don't worry. There are going to be lots of resources put on Google Classroom to help your revision, so good luck.